Hello and thanks for staying on LN 24/7. This is Politics Now. My name is Mono Balagobo. Quite a lot happening in the country, but today we will pin it down to the Labour Party leadership crisis and the just concluded Take It Back movement protest. We'll try to unpack what has happened so far. But on the topic of Labour Party, our talking points will revolve around dissecting the Supreme Court judgment on the chairmanship of the party, and also confusion over who chairs party. That is still a lingering issue. And resolving the party crisis, is there a way forward? Is there a light at the end of the tunnel in the midst of the surge of SDP? Well, our guest is no stranger to the show. Peter Hassan, a Labour Party chieftain, a pastor, political analyst, 2019 Southern Kaduna senatorial candidate, and Publicity Strategies Director for One Purpose Initiative, and also CEO, D. Castro Global Limited. Once again, Pastor Peter Hassan, good to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me, and I want to thank everyone who has sent me a series of birthday messages. Yesterday was my birthday.
Oh, and, happy birthday to you, sir.
I want to say thank you to my mom, and thank you to my siblings, and especially to my beloved sister, Amina Musa Todo. Thank you.
I'm sure they're watching.
Yes, they are. Yes.
I mean, life is very important. I mean, to celebrate another year in the present situation in this country, it's something to be grateful to God for.
Wow.
All right. So let's go back to the Take It Back protest movement. Young demonstrators under the aegis of the Take It Back movement on Monday defied police warning and staged protests in Abuja, Lagos, Oyo Rivers, amongst other states. This comes 9 months after the hashtag End Bad Governance protests, which were held last August to protest the high cost of living in the country. And of course, earlier on Monday, there was blockade by security agencies of routes leading to Eagle Square and Federal Secretariat in Abuja, where aggrieved Nigerians were planning to use for their protest against the controversial cybercrime law and emergency rule. And of course, the protesters, as you can see from some of the visuals that we were able to get, seemed hyped and, you know, just out and about to go get the cause out there via protest. And clad in their signature orange berets, the protesters began their rally in Lagos at the Ikeja Under Bridge, marching through major roads in the state capital, chanting solidarity songs, and of course, the police having a watchful eye on the protesters. And in Oyo, members of the protesters held their peaceful demonstration in Ibadan, the state capital, with security operatives on standby to ensure no breach of peace. However, things turned sour in Rivers, Port Harcourt, where police fired tear gas at protesters at the Isaac Borough Park. Policemen gave the protesters a hot chase and beat some of them, including journalists. And just this morning on the show, I and my colleague Yemisi were talking about the Arewa Forum, who were calling for the police to actually, not the Arewa Forum now, I beg your pardon, that's the Nigerian Union of Journalists, calling on the police to apologize for the assault on journalists. It's the work that we do, and we need to be safe to do it as the fulcrum of the estate. Now, on this protest, in a surprising turn of events, the Nigerian Youth Council of Nigeria disassociated itself from the movement and, of course, suing for peace, especially amongst the youth. And we recall that on Sunday, to be precise, the Nigerian police force had urged the movement to cancel its nationwide protest, describing the timing as ill-conceived and mischievous, considering the fact that it coincides with the national maiden edition of National Police Day. But in swift response, former presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore dismissed the police concerns, rejecting claims the protest scheduled was intended to undermine the National Police Day celebration. And the Take It Back movement protests are usually without any specific demands. The movement has been active in organizing protests, making demands on various issues, such as the state of the Nigerian economy, the president's declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State, the repeal of the Cybercrime Act, and the suspension of Similaye Fubara, and some talking about free speech. I mean, it's just quite a lot to unpack, but there you have it. So, Peter Hassan, good to have you in our studios. You're a prominent member of the opposition. You're a comrade. So I'm sure you can understand the fight with these youths under the direction of Shore to demand the government to reverse its decision, the declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State. Do you share in some of their plights? Do you think it is ill-timed? What's your say?
I sincerely want to thumb up for the Nigerian youth. Sincerely, the step the Nigerian youth took was a very good, bold steps. And I want to say for those who sustain injury, sorry, I sympathize with them. And I want to say, a luta continua. The youth should not give up. The youth should continue until we get it right. But be it as it may, I want to say this is the real time that we needed those people who are clamoring coalition. This is the real time where people like Atiku, El-Rufai, Nanedi, and others that we have been seeing in picture, this is the real time they are supposed to come and back up with the youth. They did that during Goodluck Jonathan time. So why are they not coming out to do it now? This is the real time for them to say, oh, the youth, you are not only going to do it alone, we are in your front, we are in your back. This is the time they can prove to Nigeria that the coalition that they want to do is genuine.
So in other words, this coalition is talk and not do.
It's talk and not do, because if it is talk and do, they saw it on the street. Why didn't El-Rufai and others, why didn't Atiku and others, why didn't they come to the front and say, yes, Nigerians are really suffering just like they are saying, and back up the youth? They were not there. But we could see them, Tunde Bakari and others, we could see the Adams Oshomole and all, we could see them how they held their hands and they were going around the streets in Lagos, blocking everywhere.
Not minding ethnicity.
Not minding anything, yes. And there was no police that was tear-gassing anybody. But today, they have gotten what they wanted.
So what you're saying is that if these stakeholders in Nigeria's politics were actually on ground, some of the assaults on protesters,
it wouldn't have happened, because all of them will come with their securities. And because of their big name, yes, maybe it should have passed the real message. But the truth be told, if these persons that are forming or clamoring coalition really are serious, let them come to the streets like the youth. Let them join the youth on the streets and take back Nigeria, as they are saying. Is take back Nigeria is not all about everybody should shut down his political party and come and join one political party. And no, the way they did it before, there was a shutdown, yes. There was so many political parties that merged together, yes. But at the end, what did you see? We saw them coming together, not one, not twice, not three times, protesting in every corner of Nigeria. And there was never a time Goodluck Jonathan threw tear gas on them. And the same people, sorry sir, the same people who are throwing tear gas to everybody, these are the same people that when they were doing it to Goodluck Jonathan, nobody put tear gas on them. Now, and they are the one in power today.
What baffles my imagination is that some of the key concerns being shared and being put out there by this Take It Back movement are still the same concerns of the SDP that's under the hype. Let me use that word hype because I don't think he's the leader of the party. Under the hype of El-Rufai and Atiku and probably Peter Obi, your presidential candidate. So, I mean, to see that there is no backing for someone like Showore. Now, he did not have good words for this coalition, sort of, because I was listening to an interview where he talked about the caliber of some of this person and saying that coalition will not work. I think the question to Showore was, are you going to be a part of a coalition? So how is unseating President Tinubu in 2027 going to work? Because for APC unsat PDP, and it took, I wouldn't want to go into the political history now, from how political parties merged to become APC. So what's going to take?
Just like as
I said. What's it going to take?
Just like as I said, everything they need is to put their heads together, put resources together, get a support. And not just the support, when I talk about support, I'm talking about moral support, I'm talking about financial support, I'm talking about physical support. If they really want to take back Nigeria or save Nigeria, let them come to the streets. Charity begins at home. Their home is the street because everybody is now in the street. No job, no employment, business are crumbling every day. So the street is empty. So let the so-called big wings come to the street, join with the youth, and take back Nigeria. That's very, very important. Because if that is not done, they are really showing to us that they are not really ready to take back what? Nigeria. All they are trying to do is that for their own benefit and for their own personal gain. Now, not for the Nigerians.
Let's talk about the police involvement in all of this. Yes, we saw the National Police Week. Do you think that's enough reason to stop people from exercising?
No. That's supposed to be where Nigerian police, with all due respect, proves to the Nigerian and the world that they are up for professionalism. They are doing Nigerian Police Day or Remembrance Day or Celebration Day does not mean the country should be shut down. That is where the police is supposed to show love. That's why the police is supposed to show care. That's where the police is supposed to protect.
On their defense, I'm not a spokesman for the police, but during the course of the National Police Week, they've done a lot of, community work, which we've reported on our station.
I understand.
So
I have been following it. It's easier said than done.
Let's stay on the protest.
They did all this activity they did in the various community, and they still come to the street to flog the same community they were doing things for. Tear gas them. So it means they are robbing Peter to save Paul. We slap you, we pamper you at the front and at the back, and at the front we flog you. That's what happened. If police have done all that they did during the week, all the activities in the community, in various wards, various local governments, and to a lot of individuals, now the youth come out. Oh, professionally, we are going to guide you. You are not going to go above this. You are not going to go above this. Look at the way people look at it done in Ibadan.
Governance profit. Yeah.
Look at what is done. That is a very high professionalism in Ibadan. So it could have been done in Lagos, Rivers, and even in Abuja. But the professionalism in Abuja, in Rivers, and in Lagos was not there.
I mean, you look at what happened in Abuja. Early hours of the morning, people going to work could not even have access to the major roads. They were all blocked.
Must we block road every little time?
But the talking point of the government is protection of public infrastructure.
Protection of public infrastructure is a very simple thing.
If I'm to quote, not it verbatim,
I want you to understand. I understand if they are
before you can have access to hold
they have communicated
protests,
they have communicated.
You need to pay a fine. That was what he said last year. You need to pay a fine to guarantee the situation where if a public property is vandalized, there will be resources the same
FCT minister, when he was a local government chairman, before he became a local government chairman, he was citing all these protests in Rivers. He was. And to a large extent, this is Nigeria. Where was it anywhere? From the beginning of NADECO down to June 12th, that there was a lot of protests were here and there. Where has it ever been heard that you are going to pay fine? The only thing is that put your security, make sure they up to standard in professionalism. And okay, guys, you want to do protest, a peaceful protest. Yes, no problem. You walk from here to this place, we'll give you protection. Anybody that crosses this place has gone against our rules of engagement. Anything that happened, we take it. That is how professionality is. Are you not seeing the way it's done in outside countries?
Do you think that some of the faces behind this protest just want to be relevant, seeking social attention?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Of the government, because there is this allegation that some of these persons use this protest to kind of build up a profile where they could get sponsorship from outside the country. Now, this is not my opinion. It's not the opinion of LN 24/7. But these are one of the talking points of the government.
My dear friend, let me ask you, for how long?
To protect citizens.
My friend, let me ask you, let me show you. Nigerian today, we are 65 years. By proxy, we are 65 years as a nation. For how long are we going to continue to use the word depending on outside country for so-called? For how long? A child of 65 years is a great-grandfather and great-grandmother. So we should stop that issue of people are trying to use it. Who is giving who? Is it not the same Nigerians that are supporting the Nigerians from the outside country? Would you think a white man will give you money to go and solve your problem in your country? No. It's the same Nigerians that are in outside country, maybe because of they are not happy with what is happening, and they have a friend, they have a colleague, they have a brother, they have a sister. This thing is happening. Okay, why not do protests just like the way we usually do in London, in UK, in America? Look at the protests that happen in America. Did you see any tear gas? There was a protest against Trump. Did we see any tear gas? Did we see anybody flogged? And they did their thing, and everybody what? Left. Look at the one from Morocco and whatever, they gathered together and they did a peaceful what? Protest. Because they said, no, Trump, your policy is getting us what? Is getting us, is taking us, we don't like your policies. They want a soft landing. And Canada came up, South Africa came up, Morocco came up, and other countries came up and said, we are going to do protests. Nobody tear gas anybody. The same set of people you are thinking that they are sending money home. These same people are doing protests in their various countries. So let us stop deceiving ourselves and say people are doing protests because of selfish gain or because of they are expecting somebody to send money for them. These are the same people who are thinking of how to get their ticket to come back home. These are the same set of people who they are being tormented where they are. If you go and see how Nigerians are being tormented in various countries. Even in the African countries today, our Nigerian citizens are being tormented, beaten, and so many of them are being killed on daily basis. Because of what? Because of they are trying to meet up and ends meet. If the opportunity is here in this country, 65 years, we are still struggling.
Now, it's been 48 hours since that protest. There's been no word from the government. So how would you judge
who will give the word?
Efficiency, so to speak.
Let me ask you, who will give the word? Movement. Mr. President is not in the country.
But the Vice President is
when did as at the protest, Mr. Vice President was not in the country. Have you seen the tweet that came up and
he returned back on Sunday.
And what was it? What did the Vice President tweeted? He said the president did not hand over power to him. I saw it somewhere in the social media. That the Vice President said the President did not hand over the country to him, he handed over to his son. Have you not been hearing that the Vice President has been complaining about him not being carried along? Have you not seen a tweet that the Vice President tweeted and said he regretted accepting being Vice President in a country of over 250 million people? A Vice President who came and campaigned, so it means his campaign words that he used was a deceitful word on Nigeria. It means he was not sure and he took over the position. If I am not sure of coming to your studio, I will call you and tell you, sorry, I'm not sure I can make it. Case closed, nobody will beat me. But as it is, the Vice President, the President was not in country, the Vice President. Now, if you want to talk about the Vice President, what about if the President did not empower him to talk?
Okay, we know the President and the Vice President has not made any comment.
Yes.
But we have a Minister for Youth.
Yes.
There's been no word from them.
Yes.
We have a Minister for Labor.
Yes.
There's been no word.
There is Minister for Women.
Economy.
Yes.
There's been no word.
And let me just tell you what you don't understand is that they are not saying they want to take over ministry. They are not taking back Ministry of Youth. They are not taking over Ministry of Economy. They are not taking Ministry of Labor. They are taking back what? Nigeria. So the President of Nigeria is supposed to address them. And the President of Nigeria has not mandated.
What does that say about this administration?
What he says is that the administration to an extent doesn't concern what we are going through. They don't take us serious.
Now, we've seen surrogates for the president, his various spokesperson.
Yes.
You know, they extensively spoke about, you know, what the government is doing, how Nigerians need to be patient.
Yes.
And, you know, I think the one that is calling a lot of heat now has to do with the issue in Rivers. I mean, there's even a pressing issue now against court orders judgment. The Vice Admiral has appointed local government administrators, and that's also raising tension. So when you look at all of this and the responses from the government, and you see that there is not resonating with the people.
That's what I'm saying. The president needs to wake up. We have.
Do you think he has bad advisors?
We have two presidents. I will tell you this.
The people who are working with him, do you think they tell him what he needs to hear?
No, they don't. They don't tell him what he needs to know. That's one. Number two, they don't care about what he wants to know. This is just my take, because the reason is very clear. Mr. President, out of all attention, suggestions, advices that the Nigerian masses gave us, said, do not tamper with Rivers. He still went ahead and appointed an administrator. You remove somebody who was elected and brought somebody who is not what? Elected. Now, you didn't stop there. The person you brought is not a serving one. Is not a serving, we are not a military regime, we are a democracy. You now brought somebody who is not operating under the comfort of democracy. One. Two, he is not still wearing uniform. He's a retired admiral. So it means as a retired admiral, he's as good as every person in Nigeria. You gave him the power and he went there. He was not going to borrow his former uniform and torment the people, which was very wrong. No, it is wrong. Now, the court gave you a verdict. You only called to come and, okay, handle this thing and bring everybody together, bring peace. That is what it means for also administrator. We saw it happen in Plateau State. We saw it happen in Plateau State. And when it happened in Plateau State, as at that very time, you are expected to bring everybody what? Together. And as you be able to, oh, shield your sword, shield your sword. The administrator of Rivers State is not bringing people together. Instead, is still what? Dividing them. Why should you? The court said they don't want the elected what? The elected chairman. And within 48 hours, Governor Fubara removed them from office and said they should hand over to the PAMSEC and whatever. You are coming in, you are putting admin. You are supposed to stay for only 6 months. The 6 months you are supposed to stay, what do you have to do with the local government that the PAMSECs and the executive secretaries of the various local government cannot handle? Then you are now going now to start putting caretaker committee. As who? As an elected, you are not a governor. You are only an administrator to handle just the administration part of the country, of the state, not to venture into the politicking. Now you have started appointing, and the people you are appointing, they are from one part of political party.
I mean, time will not permit us to dwell on this, but we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we will go to Labour Party and see what's up. Chairman, is that what's the case in Labour Party? All that and more when we return to stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. We move the conversation further to Labour Party. What is really going on? Confusion over who chairs party and resolving the party crisis. I mean, there's just a whole lot to unpack. But let's quickly just give you an update, a kind of summary of all that has played out so far. Now, as you've been following the story, the crisis in the Labour Party took a turn of events. I mean, for some would say for the worse on Monday, as two feuding parties in the leadership tussle summoned separate National Executive Council NEC meetings to deliberate on the way forward after the Supreme Court judgment, while the Julius Abure-led party leadership summoned a NEC meeting. The Peter Obi, Governor Alex Otti-led stakeholders scheduled theirs for tomorrow, 9th of April, that is today. I beg your pardon. And Abure and his team sent out invitations to relevant stakeholders late Sunday for the NEC meeting scheduled to hold on Monday. Well, not to worry. Our guest was in that meeting, so he will give us all the juicy details that went out there. In what appears to be a counter move, will be Otti summoned their own NEC meeting, with both meetings scheduled to hold in Abuja. Now, a statement by the spokesperson of the Peter Obi Media Outreach, Ibrahim Umar, read that the two leading figures of the Labour Party, that is Peter Obi and Alex Otti, summoned the National Executive Committee meeting in Abuja, which holds today. Now, the meeting is in furtherance of the Supreme Court's ruling, terminating, in their own words, an interpretation of the Supreme Court judgment Abure-led NWC. And the comrade Julius Abure-led National Executive Committee of the party also threatened to sanction Abia State Governor Alex Otti should he go ahead with the planned illegal stakeholders meeting. So we'll get more details. I mean, this is a developing story. It also warned the party's presidential candidate, Peter Obi, against any conduct, utterances which promotes disunity within the party. And in his place, the NEC appointed Ben Etenabane as the new leader. Now, this is all coming after the Supreme Court's ruling on Friday last week that set aside the judgment of the Court of Appeal in Abuja, recognizing Julius Abure as the national chairman of the Labour Party. In a unanimous judgment, a 5-member panel of the Apex Court held that the Court of Appeal lacked the jurisdiction to have pronounced Abure national chairman of the Labour Party after finding out earlier that the substance of the case was about the party's leadership. So let's summarize it all. The first one says the Apex Court held that the issue of the leadership was an internal affair of a party over which courts lack jurisdiction. The court further allowed the appeal filed by Senator Enadi Usman and one other and held that it was meritorious. It also dismissed the cross-appeal filed by the Abure group of the Labour Party for being unmeritorious. Now, this is also coming as a result of the appeal court ruling in Abuja back in January that reiterated that Abure remained the chairman of the Labour Party, and this ruling has not been set aside by any court. So the appellate court in the two separate appeals held that it did not delve into the issue of the leadership of the Labour Party because such issues are not justiciable. It said that anything done outside jurisdiction amounts to a nullity. Hence, the judgment of the Federal High Court delivered on October 8th, 2024 by Justice Emeka Nwete is of no effect because it was delivered without jurisdiction. Now, do recall that following the leadership crisis in the Labour Party, the NEC resolved to remove Abure as the national chairman. To fill the leadership vacuum, the party constituted 29 caretaker committee with the finance minister, Senator Usman as chairman and Wokocha as secretary. The decision was the outcome of an expanded stakeholders meeting of the party that was hosted by Governor Alex Otti. So you can see how this has played out so far. Now, according to the caucus, the judgment is an elixir for Labour Party stability and reinvention. The leader of the caucus, Rep. Farm Victor Ogene, in a statement at the Supreme Court pronouncement, described the development as a veritable tonic for the revitalization of the party that has been engulfed by the leadership tussle in recent years. And do recall shortly after the ruling, Abure also hailed the Friday Supreme Court judgment, and Obiora for the National Party Secretary said by the judgment Abure has been confirmed as the authentic national chairman. Meanwhile, the acting national chairman of the Nigerian Labour Congress Political Commission, Professor Theophilus, has hailed the judgment of the Supreme Court. So there you have it. You know, Peter Hassan, we've been talking about your party for quite a lot of time now. We were thinking this Supreme Court's ruling is going to be, the full solution to the whole matter. But, moving past so many cases that the Supreme Court has handled, I mean, when it comes to party leadership, the court doesn't really want to have anything to do with it because it feels it lies solely within the ambers of the party structure. So Abure is claiming Chairman Alex Otti's own side is also claiming leadership too, I mean, after the Supreme Court ruling. But the Supreme Court's verdict is not really confusing as people make it out to be. So let's start with your own interpretation.
Thank you again for the privilege to sensitize Nigerians and the world on the verdict of the Supreme Court. I don't know if some people are waiting that after the Supreme Court judgment, there will be a super Supreme Court.
No, we were thinking this would be the final.
Maybe there is another.
So there will be no need.
No, maybe there is another super.
Maybe there is another
super Supreme Court, judgment that everybody will be running after. But anyway, to a lighter mode, I want you to understand that the judgment is clear. There is no any court of competent jurisdiction that has the power to interfere in the party leadership. That words alone has solved it. Now, there is nobody, for example, in LN24, LN247, Miss Joy would not say because she usually helped to call your guest, we now come and sit down and become the presenter because of she's a staff here. No, everybody has his jurisdiction.
That's a perfect example of what is playing out.
Yes. Yeah. Now, Alex Otti came in through a leadership who sent his name to NEC.
And that's under Abure.
And that is Abure. And the same Peter Obi came through a process, a leadership that sent his name to where? NEC. You came as a contestant, as a candidate for a certain political position. You win, you don't win. That has not given you the power to take over the party that has been there for long. No, it's wrong. What is wrong is what is wrong. The only thing is that, and at times I say it very well, people who have rigmarole with other political parties, like Alex Otti and Peter Obi, they have rigmarole with other political parties. Alex Otti was one time in he was one time in ABGA, he was one time in PDP, he was one time in APC, before finally he came to Labour Party. Peter Obi was one time in PDP, ABGA, came to PDP, before he now came to where? To Labour Party. Now, they were thinking that the constitution of Labour Party is the same thing with what they saw in ABGA, in PDP, or in APC. So they are giving it that interpretation, which was wrong.
But what do you think is their bone of contention?
Their bone of contention is
about this case is the fact that Abure's tenure expired back in 2020.
Let me even clarify that to the world, let the world hear. Abure was the national secretary. The former national chairman died 2000. After he died 2000 in power, that was his last tenure. We elected him. I was part of the election that elected the former national chairman in Akwanga. 2020, we're in Akwanga and we elected him, Baraji, as the chairman of the party. And after 2 years, he died of a protected illness. And after he died, the deputy took over
as chairman,
acting chairman of the party. And the constitution says you will stand in for 3 to 6 months. After you stand in for 3 to 6 months, there will be NEC meeting, which NEC meeting will decide either to call you, either to accept you to continue or to appoint somebody who will lead the party for the completion of that tenure. So the woman was in the office and was very comfortable. All through her stay in the office, She didn't call. One, she didn't call NEC to send a condolence messages to the late. She didn't call for sympathy, and she didn't call to officially announce to NEC. So it was just taken care of by the National Working Committee meeting, council meeting. And when eventually Abure felt, okay, the needs need to be done, we started complaining, and they spoke to her, and she accepted what? For the meeting to come. And we came for that meeting I was part of the meeting again. I went for that meeting, and I was in that very meeting. And what happened in that very meeting was something that I felt as a leader. Baraje, when he was a leader of Labour Party, as you are coming in from the main gate, you will see him welcoming chairman and secretary. He's welcoming the NEC members to the meeting. This woman did not welcome any of us. That evening we came, there was no brief from anybody. And we sat down and said, no, this was not what we know. Labour Party is Papa, Mama, Pekin. It's a family party. And there we sat down and we took a decision. We said, okay, let us watch the money. Till the morning, Madam Felicia didn't call down to welcome anybody. We only saw her when the meeting was to start by 10 a.m. in Edo State. And suddenly, immediately she came to the meeting. Straight ahead, that friendliness of going around, welcome your people that you are part of this executive, was not there. She went straight to the meeting agenda. And we, being a member of the NEC, we felt this will not give the party what we wanted. So that was where we took decision, and she was removed. And Abure was elected as the acting chairman to lead the party for 2 years towards the election before the national convention.
But during that period, has Abure not been referring to himself as the chairman of the party?
No, he has never.
Never for once.
She was we have never had a meeting. I just gave you the scenario, how it happened. And in that meeting, that was where she was removed. A vote of no confidence was passed on her, and she was returned back to her position as the deputy national chairperson of the party. And Abure was elected and elevated to the acting national chairman. And Umar Ibrahim Farouk, the present national secretary, was the national vice chairman, Northwest. He was now brought in to take. Now, this is how Labour Party runs. Labour Party, if a chairman is a Christian, the secretary, where we have Christian and Muslim dominated people, the secretary becomes what? A Muslim. Because we want to balance the religion differences. Where the chairman is a Christian, the Muslim becomes what? The secretary. Where the chairman is a Muslim. That was what they say. That was how we. So that was how Umar Farouk became what? The national secretary. And I bet you, after that election, 6 months later, we found out that Labour Party, there was a serious transformation. There was a serious transformation by Abure-led committee.
Which and brought about Peter Obi coming into the party.
And it was just 2 years they were to do before the election. And after the 2 years, we convey again.
So are you trying to say that what Peter Obi and Alex Otti's camp is doing is just a hijack of the party?
It's just a hijack of the party.
What is behind this hijack?
The hijack is just a political relevance. It's just to be politically relevant.
To whose benefit?
To their own benefit, not to the masses, not to the party.
What does Peter Obi and Alex Otti have to gain if they are in charge?
Peter Obi want to still remain. Look, let me tell you, in so many political parties, when you come up and you want to, you are contesting a position, you go on tour, right? You meet various states and meet various stakeholders. You negotiate with them and canvass for their votes. But what happened? Peter Obi did not get it that. He got it softly. It was a soft-landed process that came. Peter Obi joined the party.
Is he afraid he's not going to get that?
He is afraid he may not get it because he's afraid he may not get it because what we expected him to do, He didn't do it.
What was he supposed to do?
What Peter Obi was supposed to do was this. Immediately after the election, he calls all the National Working Committee, chairman and secretaries of the party. Oh, well done. Thank you. You people have tried. Are you getting it? But we can put our head and get it right. What do we need to do? You know, have a conversation one-on-one. I want to tell you that that has not been done. Till this minute. It has not been done. So if it is you that is such a, you will hear Peter Obi visit so states where there is a Labour Party chairman there. Before the chairman will even get the information, or the executive of the state will get the information, before they reach there, he has finished what he's doing and he's gone. Which by the right, as a party member and somebody at that caliber, when you come to the state, the first place you go to here is the political party office.
But this behavior, was it immediately after he started challenging the leadership of the party?
Peter Obi, I want to tell you that from the beginning and to the end of the election, Peter Obi never challenged the leadership of the party. He was with the leadership of the party. And we were all part of the court process after the election. We were all part of it. We were in the court every day. Every day we are in the court. If we are not in the court today, if we are not in our appeal court today, tomorrow we are in a high court over one case or the other, because there were a lot of cases. This state is suing the APC government. That state is suing that. So we're in various courts every day. No. And there was a peaceful protest and say, no, we are watching, appeal court, we are watching, do not do this, do not do this. So many of us were on ground, on daily basis.
Now, I wanted to ask you a question. Now, under the Labour Party constitution, how long is an elected acting chairman supposed to man the affairs of the party?
To finish the tenure of his predecessor.
So why is that?
After he finished the tenure of his predecessor, if the National Executive Council feels he has done well, they can now, at the National Convention, elect him. And when they elect him, that is his first tenure.
Okay, so
Abure has not even, it is just now Abure started his first tenure.
Now, let's talk about the last Congress. I think it was in
Nnewi.
A lot of Labour Party members felt ostracized from that meeting.
It's not a lot of...
Some even call it an illegal
Let me correct
meeting.
you, sir. Let me correct you. Support group are not Labour Party members.
So those support groups.
So these people are talking about
card-carrying members of the party.
They are not financially committed members of the party.
But they are card
Let me come to that.
Party.
When Peter Obi came to the party, we had a retreat. We had a 3-day retreat at Chida Hotel. In that 3-day retreat that was taking place, Peter Obi pleaded with the National Executive Council to permit him to get to print membership card. And every political party sells their membership card for as low as 100 naira per card. Then you pay the monthly due of 100 naira every month. Now Peter Obi pleaded and said, because of the membership drive and this support group and others, so that they will feel the sense that they are part of it. And the National Working Committee approved it, and they printed almost 10 million cards. 10 million membership cards. And Peter Obi gave that membership card out for free. And after giving them that card for free, they didn't go to pay their annual dues. And the party constitution,
annual dues?
100 naira per month. And the party constitution say, for you to vote and be voted for into any elective position in the party, you must be financially up to date. Don't forget, they were a support group that came from various political parties.
This financial responsibility, was it duly communicated to these members?
Let me let you understand.
So that they could fulfill their obligation,
yes, that is what
and come for that Congress?
They cannot come for the convention in Nnewi. The reason why they cannot come for convention in Nnewi, the party have a structure. You must be a registered member from your ward to the local government to the state, from state to national. There is no how you can be a ward member and start contesting for national position. It's not possible. It's just like a councillor coming out to say he's now becoming he's coming to contest a Tinubu position. APC will not give a councillor an executive position, a national executive position, because it has to go by the trade. You have to do what? Grow. That's why some of us have been in Labour Party for 14 years. So I grew up to the position I am today. So you have to grow from ward to local government to state. So in this national convention, 7 persons.
And all this is clearly stated in the party's constitution.
Yes. 7 persons are the ones that are eligible to vote and be voted for. 7 persons from every state, and they must be members of the state executive council.
And you had this representation anyway.
Yes.
During the time
all
of
the
Congress.
States brought their 7 representation. The list is there. The list is there. It's with NEC and it's in the party secretariat. Anybody can go to the site of the Labour Party site, Google it. You will see the list of those who attended the convention. So how will you come in as a support group? They give you card for free, membership card for free. You have not even identified with your ward. You now want to go to NEC to go and choose party chairman. Who does that?
So we have now. Let's move past.
And let me even tell you, like the council of chieftaincy now, the council of chief of Umuze now in Imo land now, because of you are part of you are an Igbo man. Then a king die, or they want to choose a new king. You will not say no. You will not come up and say you want to contest for the king position when you are not part of the king, the clan that produce a king.
So now let's move away from the history now and look at the present situation that's on ground. There is a meeting that held today. That's the Otti Peter Obi caucus.
Yes.
So
how
are you going to manage all of that?
Who is Otti to Labour Party that is calling for meeting? Otti, that the same Otti you are talking that is calling for Labour Party, that changed Labour Party in his state and give all position to Z Labour Party. Is that not anti-party? Is he not ashamed? He should be ashamed of himself. He should be ashamed of himself that the position that his party that is clamoring for, taking to court, sponsoring and financing their activity illegally. He should be ashamed to hide his face. In his state today, is the Labour Party that dominates all the council. And he's still coming to fight for Labour Party so that he will destroy Labour Party before he financially leaves.
Are you going to suspend him for anti-party activities?
If he go ahead, as the National Executive Council have said, if he go ahead with that meeting, he will be suspended, certainly. Because the warning has been given to him already.
Now, this crisis seems to me that it's going to linger because the court doesn't want to have anything to do with party leadership. So it boils down to... So the court doesn't want to do anything... It boils down to both factions coming together.
No, there is nothing like faction. I've said it time with that number. There is no faction.
So what do you
Peter Obi is not a member of the National Executive Council.
So what do you
Nanedi Usman is not a member of the National Executive Council. Nwakocha is not a member of the National Executive Council. So how will you now call it?
What do you call them?
These are imposters. They are not members of the National Executive Council and they cannot take a decision. How can you, Mona, today, go and say you want to go and attend Federal Executive Council meeting of Nigeria? Are you an Executive Council member? Are you a minister? Are you an ambassador? So how will you go and cough, or you will now go and sit down and cough a different meeting? And so you are holding a meeting outside the meeting Tinubu is holding. That's illegal.
But they are card-carrying members of your
party.
They
are card-carrying members.
So let them what is Abure going to
let them bring them
to bring them back in?
The only way they can do is to go back to their various wards and follow up and follow the constitution and merge in as members of the party. If their members if the members of their ward elect them into ward executive, they have to serve the ward executive for 3 years. Then before they will not get access to contest for local government executive, that will take them for another 4 years, that they will now go to from local government, you will now come to the state, before you will not get to that state. So it's a process.
Now, it seems to me that the NLC TUC structure, is also weighing into this conversation. They seem to be
the NLC and TUC, they are members of the NEC. Are you getting
your NEC or Otti's NEC?
They are members of Labour Party NEC as stipulated in the party constitution.
Are they backing Abure's leadership?
Do they have to back? They don't have to back. They know their onion. They don't need to back. They are already members of the NEC. And just like we had a NEC meeting that was announced on Monday, and we all came for that NEC meeting, they were part and parcel of the NEC. If they choose to come, no, fine. If they don't choose to come, fine. If you invite me here now,
at the meeting,
I don't know, but I knew
you were there.
I was there.
Don't you know them one-on-one?
I don't know them one-on-one.
You don't know their names.
I
You
would
don't
like,
know what they look like.
I would like, as a person
But
today,
you were at the meeting.
I was in the meeting from the beginning of the meeting to the end.
But you're a state stakeholder of your party. You
I am a
should
very
know those
strong
who are
stakeholder.
NEC members.
Let me tell you one thing you need to understand is this. From the body language of NLC, TUC cut off from them. TUC has been following Labour Party with everything they are doing. TUC is standing with Labour Party. Are you getting it? But immediately the NLC went and formed a caretaker misled committee headed by the former NLC president, Abdul Wahid. Are you getting it? That was where they started getting it wrong. Do you know that within a short time, they have constituted over 3 different committees? And at the end of the day, it didn't work. Now, NLC constituted a committee. The committee was permitting going up and down, led by Abdul Wahid. They were still there. The next thing we saw was that Otti and Peter Obi went to Abia and constituted another committee, which the committee that NLC constituted has not been dissolved. They consider that committee. Is that not a confusion already on their own? Now, and NLC now, because they felt...
Because of our time.
Yes, NLC felt because of Peter Obi.
What is going to be the bigger confusion is if INEC wakes up tomorrow and says Abure's chairmanship ceases to exist.
INEC
based on their interpretation of the court of law.
What INEC cannot do that and will not do that. The reason is because the court said the leadership of the party is determined by the party.
But the other faction, okay,
they are not faction. Look, the other group, they are not custodian of the party constitution. Let me come now. Let me tell you, if you give Nana
they are claiming that Abure's leadership ceases to exist.
How?
Based on
who gave them that power? Who gave them the power?
So what if now elections are
just
coming,
like I gave you the history of the party.
Elections are coming now, like we have the Anambra gubernatorial elections.
Yes.
You are selling forms. Okay, you have your candidate now for the Anambra governorship election.
Yes.
What if they too decide to have
they cannot you know it cannot work. You know they did that in Edo, it didn't work. They did that in Kogi, it didn't work. They did that in Imo, it didn't work. So it's not now. They conducted all this primary, and at the end of the day, it was Abure-led
that prevailed.
And
you feel it will still prevail?
It will continue to prevail. Now let me tell you, am I not due to be a Labour Party chairman, national chairman? Can't I be? Can't Umar Farouk be? Can't any other person from another state become? Why the people who came to contest that just joined the party at the dime minute, why are they claiming leadership? That's another question we should ask ourselves.
Well, our time is up,
and
so
finally,
we have to go.
Finally, I want you to know that in Labour Party, there is party structure. If you say Abure-led National Working Committee, it means you are removing both chairmen and secretaries of the state, because we are part of what? The NEC that form Abure. Are you getting it?
And this contest is just at the top.
At the top.
And so it doesn't affect those within the state structure.
If it affects up there, certainly every one of us who have suffered in the party for years, for over a decade, they will not spare everybody, they will remove everybody.
Well, our time is up. We've got to go. Now, we've heard your own group side of the story. So we'll try as much as possible to get a chieftain that's in the other camp of Alex Otti and Peter Obi, and then you can make up for yourself.
I will give you as many contacts you want from their team, and they will come here and they will talk their own story.
I would appreciate that. But once again, I want to thank you, Pastor Peter Hassan, for being with us on the show today.
Thank you very much, and I want to thank LN247 for everything they have been doing for the masses of Nigeria. And to you especially, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and happy birthday to you once again. Well, there you have it, folks at home. That's the much we can take, and I'm sure you can draw up your own conclusions. But I promise you, we will have the other side tell its own story about the Labour leadership crisis that continues to persist. Once again, my name is Morno Balagubo. Thank you for watching today.